Yeah, I think the first thing, Ryan, and you know this because of our friendship, I have always thought that I was ultra particular with my time. I think that there are certain daily disciplines that I do every day that I've been very consistent with for years. And I agree with those disciplines and why I do it. But I think one thing that I've noticed during the shelter in place time is I don't know that I was as accountable for my time as I thought I was in what was our old normal life. And I've noticed that maybe some of the things that I thought were important prior to this quarantine, they're really not that important. And like as my coaching career has evolved, most of my staff has ended up becoming kids that played for us, that were a manager for us, that was a graduate assistant for us. Almost 80% of my staff is comprised of that category. And one of the things as my career has evolved is, if you look at a box score, that's a basketball coach, that's a term, that's a stat sheet after a game. How many shots did we shoot? How many did we make? What was the percentage? All of those normal statistics. And one thing that I've learned over the last few years is what of those statistics correlate to winning? Because at the end of the day, what we need to do competitively is how do we win the game? So instead of looking at the entire box score, and I look back and I would say one of the biggest lessons from the last 40 days is of all of the things that I once did, what correlates the most to what's important in my life? Because similar to what you just said, like when all of this gets stripped away, who are you? What is your identity? And what is most important to you? And to some degree, how you spend your time and your treasure should be reflective of those priorities. And I think maybe I had too much excess. It was just too much. And I didn't prioritize what I thought was most important. Like I've never spent this much time with my kids. And I look at my oldest daughter who's maybe 100 or 200 days away from going off to college. I don't know if she's going to go off to college based on what's about to happen, but she's scheduled to. And I look at the last 30 days and I think to myself, was I a good dad? Because I've spent so much time with her. Like I'm waking her up every morning to go train, and I'm so excited to wake her up. And she's 18 years old, and she's a beautiful kid, and she's always been a good kid. But I feel convicted, to be honest with you, Ryan, in my soul. Have I spent the last 18 years prioritizing other people's children more than I did my own? And like I'm waking her up to spend the next 2 hours with her. I'm not saying I could do that every day within my job, but if I did that much more often than I ever had been, would that really have impacted my job? Or was I so caught up in I've got to do these 19 things on my to do list for the day? And really, none of those 19 things correlated to what was most important relative to being a father. And in truth, not to make this about me, in truth, I feel the same way as a husband. Um, I've just, it's just made me somewhat reprioritize maybe how I think of things going forward.